Good morning, everybody. You're listening to the Arwen Lewis radio show. Today, my special guest is Graham Palmer, composer, multi-instrumentalist, recording studio owner of Surprise Studio in Buellton. He's also a songwriter, and we're talking about his recent projects that he's been working on. If you're just tuning in, Graham is recently composing some music for a film called Imbibe, which is a short film. It's a dark comedy, so keep an eye out for that. Also, we talked about his band Reductive Choir or Redactive Choir, excuse me, and then Kenotech, and we brought you out to break with Kenotech's song Displaced and brought you back in with the Logan Livermore band playing their song called Living Hell. Graham is part of that band, and they've been working on that album that's going to be released pretty soon here for quite a while. And also, in addition to these recording projects you've got going, you're part of a really cool sounding radio show called the Song Club Radio Hour. It's a weekly show that's comprised of about 15 singer, songwriter, and producers. So tell us about that show.
I think this is one of the most fun and cool projects I've been a part of in recent years. It's called Song Club Radio Hour. It was started by a musician named Joel Myers in Seattle, and it started during the pandemic. And it was one of these things where, well, we can't play out anymore, so what are we going to do? So he had this idea to start a show, and it started online, live on YouTube. It still is. It's also broadcast on KPTZ, which is a radio station up in Washington. And basically, you get a song title on Saturday morning and 3 prompts or parameters. Some of them are musical, some of them are not. Some of them are lyrics that you have to use, and everybody gets the same prompts. And then the show airs the following Friday. So you basically have whatever time you have between Saturday morning and Friday at 4 p.m. to submit your song. You write it, record it, produce it, mix it, master it, or, leave a couple of those parts of the process out, whatever you need to do to get the song done. And they all air on Friday night. And as you can imagine, there's 15-ish people in the club. So you get a lot of different interpretations of the same song titles. So the shows are really fun to listen to, and the songs are wildly different. And it's cool to see how other people interpret the same things that you did. And it's just a really fun way to write songs and have an avenue to try something new. I've written there have been 100 episodes, I think, or 90, I think, after the last episode. I've probably written songs for half of them. Okay. There's some guys that have written songs for every single episode, but I still look back and I go like, have I really written 50 songs for this thing? And God, yeah. And, of course, not all of them are gold, but you also get some really weird, sometimes you'll get a song title on the prompt. It's like, I can't make a song out of this nonsense, but you do, and it turns out cool. But it's a cool way to experiment. I've written some techno songs. I've written some solo acoustic guitar songs, solo piano songs, all sorts of stuff. So it's a great project, and it's got a little bit of traction, and I'm honored to be a part of it because the other guys in the show are really good.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. First of all, it just sounds like so much fun. And are all of the artists, producers, and songwriters involved? Are they all from different genres, or how was everybody chosen for that?
They were chosen sort of, I knew somebody that knew somebody type of thing. My buddy Dustin Lanker, who is I played with him in bands for years, and he's a fantastic musician. He's from Portland, and he knew one of the guys from Seattle, so he got asked to be in the show during season 1. I joined the first episode of season 2, which was still in 2020, and we've continued it. Season 7, I guess it is now, starts this fall. So I knew somebody that thought I'd be a good fit, and I had heard that he was doing it. I was like, God, that sounds awesome. And it was still at a time when we weren't out playing shows or really even recording with other people in the studio too so much. So it was a fun avenue to write music basically and have a platform to put it out there.
And everybody is pretty different too, like you were saying. Or
totally different styles. There's a couple of the newer guys that write like metal tunes every week, and there's a lot of folk, indie vibes in the club for sure. But even within that, again, one week you can write an indie rock tune, and the next week you can write a terrible rap song or
Yeah.
something like that, but it's a really good group of musicians, and it's fun to be a part of.
Cool. Have you used any of those songs in any of your projects?
Not of yet, but and it's kind of like when you write and record a song in a week, it's almost like a demo.
Yeah.
And sometimes they turn out fantastic and are releasable, and sometimes you think, God, that's a great idea for a song, but I'd really love to record it with a full band and not use programmed drums and all that. So there's various levels of that. I have the only thing I've done personally, because I just wanted to catalog my songs. You can always go back and listen to the episodes on YouTube, and the radio station will replay episodes. But just for the sake of my songs and having them in one place, I put them all up on my SoundCloud page, which is the only thing I use SoundCloud for, with just to, I haven't put all 50 of my songs up there, but I put in the 12 or so that I think are pretty cool. Up there. Other guys have released that and it's not all guys. There are females in the club too. But other people in the club have released like all of their season 2 songs as an album that are out there on Spotify and everything. I haven't done anything like that. There are a couple that I didn't put on my SoundCloud page that I have reserved to maybe re-record and use for something else. But that's really one of the coolest things about it, is you'll get a song title, and these songs would not exist had this show not been out. It's like I would have never written a song called Spirit of a Spirit, or one of these songs that you're going to play. So it's just it forces you in a good way to kind of think outside the box, and you'll get prompts that you have to use certain lyrics, or write something in 7/4 time or something. It's like, oh my god, okay, or use a deceptive cadence. It's like, I gotta have to look that up. What's that again? So there's things that it forces you to do, and then, oh wow, that part turned out super cool, something I never would have done naturally. But
and you grow as a songwriter by working in groups like that. And it just sounds like an awesome thing to listen to too. So I'm definitely going to go home and look that up tonight. Cool. And anybody else, if you're interested in this little radio show we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, I've got Graham Palmer here. He's a composer, multi-instrumentalist, songwriter, producer, studio owner of Surprise Studio in Buellton. And he's part of a Song Club Radio Hour radio show. You can look Song Club Radio Hour up on YouTube. And what it is, it's a consortium of 15 singer-songwriter producers who are prompted in the beginning of the week on a Saturday with a song theme, and they all write a different version of the same song and submit it on a Friday. Then you get to listen to that on the Song Club Radio Hour YouTube channel. And it sounds like if you look up Song Club Radio Hour on SoundCloud, you can probably find some of these recordings too, possibly.
Yeah, and I think some of the people in the club have released it on the more mainstream digital platforms as well. I've personally used SoundCloud to catalog my songs that I've liked out of it. But if you look up Song Club Radio Hour on YouTube, all 90 of the previous episodes will pop up. So find a song title that seems interesting. The shows usually run about an hour to an hour and a half. And again, you're hearing a ton of different types of music, all with the same song title. So it's super fun.
Cool. And so that's one songwriting approach. And let's go back to talking just a little more about the Logan Livermore project that you're a part of. So it sounds like 3 of you are pretty much involved in the writing process. So how does the writing process work for that band in particular?
Logan, who's the singer of the project, generally comes to the table with an idea. He's written most of the lyrics. Sasha and I have played in a lot of bands, both together and separate, and sort of helped craft the songs and arrange them with the rest of the band. And I don't want to take anything away from the other members in the band as well, because we all contribute. It really is a collaborative process. But it's one of those things where I've been in a number of bands with a lot of people, and you get 6 people in a room, and it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. But our process for the most part has been, Logan will write a song, generally texts the rest of us an idea of him playing it in his living room, and then we'll all have ideas of how to bring it together and make it cohesive with the other songs that we've worked on.
Cool. And then you just add and layer instruments once you get there.
Pretty much. Yep.
Cool. So we're going to take you out to break again pretty soon here. We were just discussing the Logan Livermore band project that Graham Palmer is a part of. If you were listening earlier, we played the song Living Hell by the Logan Livermore band. And we're also talking today about a bunch of Graham Palmer's amazing projects. And one of them is an instrumental duo called Redacted Choir. And we're going to take you out to break with their song Emeralds. And then we're going to bring you back in with a song that Graham Palmer wrote for the Song Club Radio Hour called Spirit of a Spirit. You're listening to Arwen Lewis on the Arwen Lewis Radio Show, and we'll be right back.
Very good.
Cool.
Very good.
Cool. And what else? Oh yeah, touring. Talk about touring in the last segment.
For sure.
How much time do we have in the last one?
I'm gonna give you 5.
Cool.
Okay. So, there we go. In 3, 2, this is the final segment.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everybody. This is Arwen Lewis, and you're listening to the Arwen Lewis Radio Show. My very special guest today, if you're just tuning in, is composer, musician, multi-instrumentalist, producer, and studio owner of Surprise Studio, Graham Palmer. And we're talking about his extensive career in the world of the music business. We talked about his recording and some songwriting projects he's involved in. And you're also very experienced in the world of touring with live bands. So when did that start? How did you get into like the real music business as a touring musician?
Probably about 2008, somewhere
Okay.
in there. And I'd been playing in bands, you know, up and down the West Coast and in Santa Barbara and stuff like that prior to that. But I really started touring internationally in, I guess, 2008. And
Okay.
that at the time was with the Wil Ridge band.
Nice.
And that just sort of happened. And that was actually my first gig playing bass.
Oh, really? Okay.
First real gig anyhow. And that sort of turned into me playing bass with a local band here called the Mad Caddies. And they've had pretty good success in Europe and overseas. And I joined that project and played with them for about 13 or 14 years and up until just recently. And yeah, we had a lot of experience touring, both good and bad, but it was a good run.
It's rock and roll.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Do you have a preference between playing a huge festival show or just a big theater as opposed to playing in a small club? Do you like all of those experiences, or is there one that you preference over the other?
I like all of those experiences, and I dislike some of those experiences too. It's every gig is different, you know.
Yeah.
We played a lot of the big European summer festivals year after year, and that's fun, you know. We're not the biggest band on the bill, so you get to see a lot of other bigger bands and play on big stages. And that particular project for me was certainly about playing music and making money and hanging out with my buddies and drinking beer in cool places. But really, travel, it has always been a big thing for me. And my parents traveled with me when I was a kid, and it's always been that, you know, people would always ask us, what's the favorite place you've ever been? And my answer was always the next place that I haven't been yet.
Yeah.
You know, so being able to go to a lot of those places and spend a lot of time overseas and meet different people was one of the cooler things about touring. And of course, I have to also mention that I met my wife on tour, so that was the number one experience.
And was that in Canada?
No, we met in Germany. Yeah, and this was not at a show. She's not a ska punk fan.
No.
But we were at a bar in Berlin, a dive bar that I've drank at many times.
Nice.
And just met her, got her number, hung out, and here we are 6-7 years later with a baby girl and living in California. But yeah, that's the number one touring experience for sure.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna say you both got very lucky.
Yes, exactly.
Rachel's the best.
Yeah, she is. Thanks.
You're welcome. And what I was gonna say too, so you said as far as traveling goes, the next place you haven't been to yet. So if there was somebody you could get on the bill with who you haven't shared a bill with yet, who would it be?
Oh gosh.
It's the worst question, probably.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. You know, we got a lot of those European festivals. We got pretty lucky to play with some cool bands that I had liked a lot. One of my best experiences was playing a festival in Austria, and Kendrick Lamar was there.
Nice.
And I actually am a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. And
Cool.
He's the type of artist. We played on the same stage, but at like 2 p.m. he played at 9 or 10 or something.
That's
But
still
I hung out over by the microphone cables and stuff like that just until the show started. So by the time it did, I was the only one left there up on the stage watching it. That was
awesome.
pretty fun. As far as who else, I don't know. Somebody, I'm sure.
There'll be a surprise waiting for you
Exactly.
in the future. Well, everybody, we're just about out of time. Graham, thank you so much. It was such a good chat.
Arwen, thanks for having me.
Of course. And this is Arwen Lewis. You're listening to the Arwen Lewis Radio Show. If you're just tuning in, this was Graham Palmer on my show today. He is a very accomplished songwriter, producer, sound engineer. He owns a recording studio in Buellton called Surprise Studio. I got to record my record there called Under the Stars. I was very lucky, and I recommend him as an engineer. And anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in and listening. If you heard earlier, Graham is part of a radio show called the Song Club Radio Hour, where 15 songwriters are prompted to write songs based on a given theme at the beginning of the week and turn it in at the end of the week. And we're going to take you out of the show with his song that he wrote for that project called I'll Regret You. And anyway, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.
Clear?
Okay.
Great, good.
Yep. Okay.